Hello everyone, the progression system our group designed for the game Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley is a simulation game with the following main features. First one, farm management. Players can plant crops, raise animals, and design their farm layout. Community interaction. The game includes many NPC characters that players can talk to, give gifts to, and even build romantic relationship with. Third one, seasons system. The game is divided into 4 seasons: spring, summer, fall, and winter, each with unique crops, fish, and events. Fourth one, exploration and combat. Players can mine resources, battle monsters, and discover hidden treasures in the caves. Relaxing atmosphere. With its pixel art design and smooth background music, the game creates a calming experience. Our target audience is architect-type players. This type of player has a high demand for strategy and a low need for challenge and excitement. They enjoy driving the game's progress through their own decisions and prefer to have full control over their gameplay experience. Interesting stories and a relaxing game environment are also key factors in their choice of games. By making thoughtful decisions, players can optimize their activities for each in-game day. Additionally, the game features a museum for items collection, which caters to architect-type players who enjoy collecting and organizing items. The game also includes engaging storylines and a variety of NPCs to interact with. This element has the reasons why architect players find Stardew Valley enjoyable and satisfying. Mining is an essential gameplay feature in Stardew Valley. In the early stages, players need ores to progress, but obtaining ores through methods other than mining is quite challenging. For instance, ores can be purchased from NPCs, but the high cost makes this option inaccessible due to limited funds at the start of the game. This forces players to rely on mining as their primary means of obtaining ores. Our target players, however, find mining too difficult. It requires a high level of skill and repeated practice, which aligns more with occupied-type players. As a high challenge, high excitement activity, mining presents a significant obstacle for our target players, who prefer strategy over combat and thrive in a low-challenge environment. Players with strong strategic preferences but lower combat skills may experience frustration when unable to avoid battles, negatively impacting their long-term enjoyment of the game. Currently, the game only features a weapon system without any armor mechanics. We purpose introducing an armor system to reduce the tension and challenge of mining while preserving the core gameplay experience. This system aims to provide a more accessible mining experience for architect-type players who prefer strategy and planning, by adding preparation and resources management elements to ease the difficulty of combat. Next, encourage players to engage in resources planning before mining, enhancing the strategic depth of the game. Finally, retain appeal for players who enjoy combat by allowing them to opt out of the armor system, ensuring their battle experience remains intact. To enhance the gameplay experience for our target audience, we aim to reduce frustration, lower combat pressure for players who are less skilled in battle, increase strategy depth, introduce armor acquisition and maintenance to satisfy strategy-oriented players' desire for planning and resource management, maintain balance, ensure the new systems doesn't make mining overly easy or undermine the original challenge of the game. The original game includes a defense system where certain items like shoes or walls provide defense for the player. New armor systems we designed differ slightly from the original defense mechanics. In the original game, when the player has defense, the damage they take from monsters is calculated as monster damage minus defense value. This means the final damage will never be lower than 1. Players must balance monitoring their health while attacking and dodging the monster attacks, making it a challenging activity. The armor we design breaks after taking a certain amount of damage. When the armor is intact, the player won't take damage. When the shell in place, player can focus solely on attacking monsters. The significantly reduces the challenge, catering to the needs of strategy-oriented players. At the same time, the armor has durability, preventing players from staying in an invincible state indefinitely. This adds a degree of strategy to combat and ensures that the game remains engaging for its original audience without becoming too easy. So here, there are 3 ways to obtain armor: crafting, buying from NPCs, and fishing. When planning the crafting process for armor, we focus on the strategic and planning preference of architect players, enhancing the strategic aspects of acquiring armors. The process of obtaining armor is designed to be longer and more complex, requiring players to plan ahead for when they will acquire the armor, especially in the early days of mining. This not only satisfies the strategy needs of architect-type players, but also provides an additional layer of challenge for players who typically enjoy mining, encouraging them to either abandon or forgo acquiring armor. This ensures the original game experience is maintained. The general crafting process is as follows. Once a player's relationship with NPC is adequate, they gather the required materials and deliver them to NPC to commission the crafting. During the crafting process, the NPC may request additional materials or trigger extra tasks. Once a player fulfills this requirement, the NPC will complete the armor and give it to player. Next is buying. Some armor can be purchased from player. Armor obtained through this purchasing channel is one-time use only, and once its durability is used up, it cannot be restored or reused. Last one is fishing. There are multiple fishing spots on the map, and the player can choose any location to fish. Different location allows players to catch different type of armor. For the durability and damage, armor purchased from NPCs will be destroyed after taking a certain amount of damage and cannot be repaired. Some armor obtained through fishing or crafting are able to repair. Once durability is depleted, players must exit combat and wait for it to automatically recover, usually after a few seconds. Once fully restored, the armor can be used again. The number of automatic repairs is limited, and once the limit is reached, the armor will be destroyed. However, in this situation, players can pay NPCs to repair it. In the early game, fighting mainly takes place in the mine. We research stats of enemies' health points and attack on different floors and got the chart above. Since monsters have different attacking speed, we set the base speed to 1 for this chart to get the average attacking for all enemies. After compiling all numbers, we notice the enemies before floor 80 of mine has an average attack of 3 or so. According to this number, we set the number of the immune health points to be below 20, meaning the armor can take approximately 4.4 times of attack. After that, the armor will need to repair or it will be break. This gives player agency to plan out their strategy on how they should progress through the mine. For example, should they continue exploring and risk fainting, which might cost them heavily? Should they leave temporarily hide from the enemy, allowing their armor to auto-repair themselves, or should they risk the loss of the armor to explore the rest of the mine? After 80 floors, there is a clear increase on attack from enemies, which the average attack they do are approximately 6.2. Due to this increase, we also increase our armor strength to 35 or so, which approximately can take 5.4 attacks from enemies. The deeper players go in the mine, the armor also will change on how strong it is, allowing players to strategically plan out more. In the first half stages of fishing armor, they are mostly for late mine floor after 80. They're not hard to get, and the numbers are only slightly higher than early armors. The second half of fishing armors are mostly for progression push on Skull Cavern and the Volcano Dungeon. The average hit from those place monsters are approximate 8 to 7 damage per hit, which makes this armor at the similar level of early armor for mine. They are harder to get just to ensure they are mainly to separate different players who are not focused on fighting with excitement and who likes to fight strategically, since they have other prerequisites which takes quite some time to get to each location. And there are also armor for late game fighting. This armor are for Volcano Dungeon, Dangerous Mine, and Dangerous Skull Cavern. This location are where there are higher rewards but also tougher enemies. Other than blocking off damages, there is a new things about effect on them that will reflect damage being dealt to you back to the enemies. They can take minimum 10 hits according to our research. This armor does take more times to create and repair, but they are also stronger by a lot. Some armor can be bought with a high cost. These armors are for other players who just want another layer of protection but are not architecture players. The minimum requirements for this armor is to have 10 hertz of friendship with certain NPC, which takes time and planning to get this 10 hertz. It takes time, which are suitable for architect players. Materials that are required to make the crafting armors are also harder than it seems. It might take more than 2 in-game years to complete find all the materials, which can push back players who just want the achievement and all upgrades since it requires too much time and planning. To cater to the item collecting players within the original mining audience, we introduced another way to obtain armor that aligns better with their gaming preferences, achievement rewards. In the original game, players should receive items after completing certain challenges or events. For example, when defeating 1,000 slimes, they could obtain a slime ring. We expanded this concept by adding armor to the treasure chest found at every 10th level of the mines. This armor is suited for the layers already completed and can be used in the next mining trip, but it won't be effective for higher layers. For example, when a player reached level 20 in the mines, they can receive a steel small sword and a steel armor at this time. This armor is effective for levels 1 to 19, but if used in level 21 to 119, it will be very useless. To first learn about this armor system, players just need to talk to peer, whom you should and definitely will meet before encountering any enemy anywhere. On the first meeting, Pierre will tell you about everything you need to know about buying at his place. The more you know about this town, and the more you can buy from him. This includes armors. After reaching to 2 hertz of the relationship with Pierre, he will tell you about the armor in this game. This includes buying from him or other people, giving them materials to craft them, or fishing the armor from different areas of water. This conversation will conclude everything the players need to know about the armor system. But Pierre will not be able to tell the player where to fish to arm or who sells and crafts armors. This will be left for the players to figure it out by themselves as they progress through the story. For the audio response part, to let the player know that the armor is in effect audio-wise, there are 2 main effects of the armor: reflect damage or immune to hate. Reflecting damage means there will be damage dealt to the enemies, since there is already sound for the hitting enemies, so we can just reuse that audio. So it is easier for the player to recognize that the enemy is taking in damage other than the visual effect. And for the immune part, players can use block the enemy's attack, which can be used here too. When the player is blocking enemy, they will not take damage. So having the same SFX is better for recognition of this is a no health point decrease. For the visual response part, visual response of the armor during fight will also focus on 2 main skills: reflect damage and immune. For the reflect part, to show reflection of damage. Since the enemy is being damaged, it will be the same as how player normally hit the enemy. There will be numbers of health points falling out from the enemy. For the immune part, to show that the players have the armor on and how much the armor is from breaking, there will be a meter beside the health and energy bar as shown above. The armor stat is a bar with a blue A. The more the enemy attack the player, the lower the durability of the armor becomes. In order to get crafted armors, which are the best armors, players need to be careful and plan out how things are distributed. A lot of items materials requires to craft the armors requires items on the Ginger Island. To get to Ginger Island, it requires players to finish repairing the community center by fishing the bundle within, which typically takes up 4 whole in-game years. Within these 4 years, what items are used to repair the community center? Should you keep these items for future use? Should you sell them or keep them as gifts for the NPCs? All this requires lots of planning beforehand. After reaching Ginger Island, there are even more materials to collect. The same question arises again. How will players distribute them? Use them to create tools, armors, or hand them in for more hearts to gain hearts from NPC, or sell them? Since there are complete new aspects to consider other than the original craftable items, players should think more carefully about how they want to distribute them. Different distribution will also affect the gameplay in the future too. In conclusion, the new armor system provides temporary damage immunity, reducing the difficulty of mining for archetype-type players while adding strategic elements of preparation and resource management. The durability mechanic ensures that the armor system doesn't make mining too easy, preserving its appeal to combat-oriented players. By introducing crafting and repair processes, the system adds depth and complexity to dungeon exploration, offering a variety of gameplay experience for different players type. This design maintains the core diversity of Stardew Valley's gameplay while satisfying the needs of both strategy and combat-focused players, enhancing the overall balance and enjoyment of the game. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for your listening and watching.